Honestly, when I think about it, women mature a lot faster. Women really know what they're doing. It gets to a point. But personally, I feel like when it comes to like sexual relationships and sexual intimacy, that's supposed to be with somebody that you truly feel intimate with. And I know that not a lot of men feel that way, honestly, and they'll probably lay down with anything.
A key that opens a lot of locks is a master key, and a lock that opens for any keys is lock. So, do what you want with that.
Statistically speaking, women who sleep with men, like 5 men or more, are more likely to divorce in their first marriage. It's like almost, I think, up to 80%.
Body count should matter for men too, because I think it's important that because to me, sex is an energy exchange. So does body count matter? No. While it might have been on the higher side because of decisions I made as a teenager, that shouldn't be held to me now.
Same way we talk about a lock and a key, I personally don't want a lollipop that everyone has put in their mouth. So it's like, you can say, oh, it's different for men and women, but an extremely lustful man who has slept with multiple people, I think will continue that lustful behavior.
If you're having sexual encounters with 100 people, it probably shows in other aspects of your life.
Like if women are presenting that they're answering the question to men asking, hey, the man's asking, can I have sex with you? And she's like, yeah, she's allowing the access for sex to happen. So majority of the time, it's predominantly women who are having sex more, which is why that STI and the STDs are spreading more.
A woman's body count matters more than a man's. We'll start by bringing up everyone that agrees now. I'm gonna start with you.
This is not to disregard the fact that men can be sluts. That's not what I'm trying to say. But honestly, when I think about it, women mature a lot faster. Women really know what they're doing. And I don't mean to shame or anything like that, but I feel like it gets to a point. But personally, I feel like when it comes to like sexual relationships and sexual intimacy, that's supposed to be with somebody that you truly feel intimate with. And I know that not a lot of men feel that way, honestly, and they'll probably lay down with anything. But I feel like as a woman, you know who you want to give your body to and who you don't want to give your body to. So it's like when you're going outside of that comfort zone so much, or you've built this like tolerance to just sex to where it means absolutely nothing to you, it's like that. I don't think that's a good sign. So no, I'm not trying to say that like a woman's value diminishes the more bodies that she has or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like as a woman, you are kind of held to this standard. Like you should hold yourself to a standard is really what I should be saying. Like you should know not everybody needs to see your body. Not everybody needs to be in your body. Not everybody needs to know who you are on a personal and on an intimate level, because as a woman, that's supposed to be reserved for your man. You feel me? So maybe if all your sexual relationships have been inside of intimate, real relationships, yes. But when you just out and about and just and ducking, I can't support that. I guess that's my opinion on it.
Okay. And is there one of you gentlemen that's ready to just get it going?
Yeah, I'll get it going. I feel like a key that opens a lot of locks is a master key, and a lock that opens for any keys is lock. So, do what you want with that.
So I'll chime off of that just because it's really simply put. There's a lot of things that you could talk about in this conversation, but women control the sexual market. They control the dating scene. So if you are in control of that situation or that scene, if you're allowing yourself to have a multitude of men come into your life, have sex with you, and then they leave you, yeah, that's a red flag for a man who's looking for a woman with a lower body count. Now, with that being said, to add on top of that, statistically speaking, women who sleep with men, like 5 men or more, are more likely to divorce in their first marriage. It's like almost, I think, up to 80%.
Where's that stat from?
Oh, well, we can pull it up after. That's fine.
Okay, I got
There's
you.
a multitude of different statistics that back that up. But yeah, I mean, end of the story, like a key that opens up a bunch of locks, like they present a ton of value. So, and I would like to refute off of what you said. You said that men can be sluts, and I would disagree with that. I would say men are the makers, because at the end of the day, a man has a ton of value. He's going to be able to be with a ton of women, right? But they're presenting themselves to him. Because at the end of the day, like in today's dating market, sexual market, women control it. So if men have that value and they're having sex with a lot of women, yeah, their body count isn't going to matter necessarily, to other men. But a lot of men in that way would look up to them and be like, dang, he gets a lot of women, so he has value. And then the same thing with women. They're going to look at him and be like, dang, a lot of women want him. So what does he present that allows him to obtain this many women? So yes. in that regard.
I think I might have to just disagree with that just for a second. And I know I moved up here, so I know that I agree with the prompt, but I just have to disagree with that in a sense, because if I get with a man and I ask him, like, mind you, body count does not necessarily mean too much to me, but it means a little bit, you feel me? So it's like, if I get with a man and I'm like, what's your body count? And he's like, 25. I'm like, dang, it's only 4 seasons in a year. You only 25 years old yourself. So it just makes me think, like, what situations could you have possibly put yourself into that you would have gave yourself up that much? Because I do think that a man's body count matters. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, but I'm saying, like, at the same way that I'm supposed to value myself and who I give my body to, as a man, that doesn't mean that you don't supposed to value yourself as well.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all. I think a majority of men do like try to conserve their body count to be low, but a lot of people don't. In today's society, a lot of times you see people go out to the clubs and enjoy that nightlife, and that's what they do. Now, I'm talking in a general perspective. This isn't a personal perspective. So personally for me, yeah, low body count for myself, but I'm saying in general, most women are going to inherently, you know, it's something to be, you know, wary of, is your body count. Because a lot of men who are conservative, who are religious, you know, they're gonna look at you and be like, well, if you got 10 bodies, like, why would I marry you? Like, there's no need to do that. So yeah.
That's what I would speak on, is like, when you sit there and you think about a girl's perspective on it and a guy's perspective on it, like, a guy's perspective is they do value that somebody hasn't gone out and slept with a bunch of people and, you know, given a lot of that to other people. Where a lot of women, and not like specific humans that I want to point out, but I just know generally there's a lot of girls that are out there that say, oh, well, I can sleep with whoever until I'm this age, and then I'll decide I'm going to settle down. And they don't realize that a lot of men inherently do not value that. They value that they've held themselves to a certain standard, and they don't, you know, just give themselves up. That's not to say that men shouldn't do the same thing, though. Like, I also, in the same sense, think that men should also not be just going around sleeping with a ton of different people, and then when they decide, oh, I'm going to settle down now, that, you know, it's not going to matter to that person as well. Like, I think in a marriage, both of you should limit that amount of people that you've been with or that you've slept with, because kind of to your point earlier when you said, like, somebody slept with so many people that they lose that connection to be able to, if you're intimate with somebody, you can't connect with them the same way that it's supposed to be and what God intended it for. So if you're going to sit there and diminish that gift that we've been given, then it's not going to mean something to you. And then back to Nico's point, it's like, well, now because you don't cherish that, or you don't feel the same connection that you should, people are more likely to get divorced because they don't get the connections that, you know, sex was intended for.
I think a little more tactful way to put what you're saying is kind of women, like we've also kind of touched on already, is women are the gatekeepers also, like you said. You guys are the gatekeepers of the opportunity to mate. So I think on the surface level, if you're willing to have a high body count and sleep with all these different guys, then obviously your standards for what you are going to be intimate with are a lot lower. That's just how that works. To go on a little bit of a deeper level, and I think more from your guys' perspective, is sex is way riskier for women than it is men, right? Anything that can happen to a woman after a bad sexual encounter can happen to a man, and then some. You know what I mean? Like, the big thing being an unwanted pregnancy. Like, that's a huge risk for women, right? Yeah, we have a bunch of, we have contraceptives, but still, it still happens. I mean, how many times do we hear about it? So there is that. You said, a man's body count does matter. I think it does matter. I think if I remember correctly, almost everybody here is Gen Z. I'm probably the only millennial here in the room.
No, there's 99.
Yeah, I'm 94. So, not 94 years old, but I know I look it, but I feel it. But it is one of those things that I've noticed too, that I actually admired Gen Z for, is a lot less of them are going and throwing themselves around than what I saw. Like, even just, maybe 10 years prior, going through school, of like, girls would be bragging about the guys they've slept with, guys would be bragging about the girls they slept with. You don't see that as much anymore. So that's a way that I'm seeing society heal itself a little bit.
That has everything to do with our entire generation is in a spotlight now. Like,
exactly.
Every single thing you do,
you're on social
like, everybody knows about it. If you're out with a guy, there's going to be a post about it. If you're out with a ton of different girls, like, you're going to see posts about it.
Exactly.
And everyone's constantly worried about that image that they have. So, like, you don't get to just fly under the radar and do all these crazy things anymore as much as you used to.
With all this talk about women, I think it might be valuable to hear what the women think.
I'm glad to hear that when I was standing back there that it got brought up that that body count should matter for men too, because I think it's important that because to me, sex is an energy exchange. So you have to be able to, like, I want to make sure that you have good energy before I give you that part of myself, right? Like, and that we can be reciprocal in that. I wasn't always like that, you know. I suffered a lot of trauma from a young age, so my adolescence was a little risky. So does body count matter? No, because my body count.
Yeah, she throws it up under the bus. She couldn't contain it. She just had to let it be known that she was out there. She was what's up. We understand. We understand. But what's getting me though is that it went from a woman's body count matters more than a man's to a man's body count should matter. A man's body count should matter. I mean, we get that. We just saying that a woman's matters more. Like, how we moving the goalposts? That's not the question. We want the woman's opinion on the question. They can't answer the question.
While it might have been on the higher side because of decisions I made as a teenager, you know, that shouldn't be held to me now because I've done the work, I've healed, I've grown. I no longer do that. So I don't want to judge anybody for decisions that they've made in their past. I don't want to judge anybody. A body count shouldn't matter because if you're making those decisions now of going out and sleeping around with everybody, then yeah, that matters. But because of maybe something that you did when you were a teenager and because of whatever reason, trauma, whatever, shouldn't be held against a person now. That shouldn't devalue them because who I was at 13, 14, 15 years old is not who I am now as, you know, a grown adult. That is where for me it's like, does body count really matter in that regard? No, because I'm not going to judge you for where you've been. I want to see you where you are now. So what are you doing now? If you're doing that now, then that's fine. Go live your life. I don't agree with that personally, and I'm not living my life that way, but you know, I'm not going to judge somebody for what they've done in their past per se in terms of the decisions because of whatever reason. Like in my case, trauma and abuse, which then triggered it to become, you know, more of a pattern rather, you know. So
you see, that's the thing. It's history. It's experience. All of these things come forth like to the table for the interview. How many bones have you broken? This may prevent you from playing on my team when it comes to sports. Do you have a history of violence? Because that history, that experience is going to disqualify some things. The type of things that you eat, the experience of you eating that can lead to obesity, diabetes, and all kinds of other health problems. The body count, that's experience. And you talking about that stuff that you've been in the past. No, you were corrupted from the beginning. Like you didn't even take time to process yourself. You jumped straight in. And you said you was uncontrollable. So that was a lot of your experience done then. And now you want somebody to come on the back end and try to create a new experience with you after you done had a lifetime already. So to say that that doesn't matter, it's negligence on your end when it comes to the fact that you're trying to find a partner. There has to be agreements, in other words, contracts, and the stuff written within the contracts is basically what I want and what you want. And that experience being brought to the table is a lot more important on a female's end than it is on a man's. Because a man's experience doesn't necessarily sully the potential, but a woman's experience does. Because men do not naturally receive the term pure the way that women naturally receive the term pure. Men want pure women. Women don't want pure men. But they don't weigh that scale. When it comes to
the body count and whether it matters or not, one thing a lot of people are leaving out is it's a hard truth, and it's probably not the popular opinion maybe. At the point that you acquire a certain body number or reputation, right? Like we're all grown here, so let's just say you're known for what that mouth does. You're known for it. You like this is like you said, you were wild out here. You were doing your thing for all these years when you were younger, and we still live in the same city. This is who you were. Like we all grew up together and stuff. Like heard about you. We know now. New relationship comes along, and what tends to happen is because she's left that life behind, she leaves a lot of those things behind. Those things that she learned along the way. She's no longer comfortable being a freak. You know what I'm saying? It makes her think about that time in her life that she wants to forget. So she's not as available to this new guy. She won't do those risky things with him, in the back of the movie theater and stuff. Right? She won't do that with him. But he knows she did it with everybody else. That's the part of the contract they don't want to talk about, is the fact that the guy gotta know that you did this with everybody else. And you expect me to just be cool with that. And I'm the guy respecting you. Like, I'm the one that's actually in love with you. So I waited till marriage, and I can't get my freak in the sheet. Because you was a freak in the sheets with 27 other people? How are people supposed to feel? And I don't think people really talk about that particular thing. What value is there in that? Not that that's all that a person is, but that's a very big factor in it. You got all these bodies. You done all this stuff. And now I gotta wait 6 months. We vibing, we cool. I'm actually a good dude. I'm kicking it with you for real. We went on a couple of dates before, you know what I'm saying, anything even halfway happened. But so you mean to tell me that the guys that ain't nothing, that ain't got nothing going for them, that don't care about they was able to hit it the first night, but I gotta wait 6 months. Okay. Well, you let somebody else wait 6 months. You got me messed up. Nah. What you mean? I gotta wait. Nah. Mm-mm. You just gonna have to see me married down the street somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You just gonna have to run to me at Walmart. Oh yeah, this is my wife. Cause nah, you tripping. But a lot of people will be mad at that take. That's just the truth though. What you mean I gotta wait? Not that you owe me anything, but damn. You know what I'm saying? Not that like I just, not that women are just, bound to that or nothing like that, but you let 3 of the homeboys hit it in one day. I gotta wait. 6 months? We've been seeing each other almost a year. You still tripping? What? Then when we finally do it, you don't want to do what? You know what?
You lied on your interview.
You have a good day. I'll see myself out. Like, nah, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You cannot convince me that anybody is okay with that. Ain't no way.
Oh, we should, not hold people to things that they've done in the past.
I like to state I've been celibate for a year, just before I start this. But with the lock and key statement that was made earlier, I think this is a mindset that men hold. To a lot of men, body count does matter, but I'm also I think a lot of women aren't also wanting a lot of the men that are on the market. And personally, like for me, the same group of people that talk about having like post-nut clarity is never somebody I would ever take sexual advice from, because I've never experienced that a day in my life. If I had sex with somebody, if I looked at something, I never thought, maybe shouldn't have done that after. Like I was decisive in my choices of giving my body to someone. And the same way we talk about a lock and a key, I personally don't want a lollipop that everyone has put in their mouth. So it's like, you can say, oh, it's different for men and women, but an extremely lustful man who has slept with multiple people, I think will continue that lustful behavior. And we've seen this with celebrity relationships. Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. I mean, like, you can be as good of a wife as you can. And if you have a lustful man by you, he will pick the not choosable woman, the woman that is not marriage material, and he'll still cheat behind your back and go cheat with the one that is easily accessible. So I think like this whole, also, if I lie to you.
So the question is, why is someone else more easily accessible than my woman? Nobody else caught that? How is it possible that we're in this loving relationship and you're this good wife, but some stranger is more available for sexual interaction than you? See, I think the problem started way before what you're talking about. What do you mean he went to the one who was more available? How did that happen? You mean he couldn't go in the other room? He couldn't send the kids outside to play and close the door like that? What do you said wife, right? Like what do you mean? He couldn't just go upstairs? That's not possible. Well, I think that there's the problem. I think that's the issue. And that might not even be the issue. Whatever's causing that might be the issue. And we're just gonna have to investigate. But the actual cheating part, that come way after that. Modern women won't see it that way. They won't see it like that.
Tell you my body count is something that it's not. You have no way to prove that I'm not like telling the truth. So at the end of the day, I think it's truly a mental thing. If you're gonna say I want a partner who isn't sexually all over the place, you should hold that same standard for yourself, because to think that you're gonna get into a relationship and all that's gonna be magically gone, I think it's really silly to think that. If you are a lustful creature and you have sex with just about anything just to get your rocks off, in a relationship, you're probably not going to be able to just tone that down. Or
I'm in a relationship and a person asks me their body count, they're not the person for me. I think that's very childish behavior. As long as you're tested, we're adults. I don't really care. I'm not saying I'm going out and being with everybody, but I'm very to myself as a person, and if I choose you, I chose you for a reason. But again, with the lustful thing, if you're having sexual encounters with 100 people, it probably shows in other aspects of your life, and not wanting or not having enough in other aspects. And then also the energy exchange. I think giving yourself's body, both men and women, to someone, it definitely plays a part in your mental health. That's why everyone, no matter what gender, should be cautious of what you're getting yourself into. But also women are at risk for higher sexual assault, rape, and I don't think it's anybody's place to tell them how they should heal. Whether that is, again, it's not the most unhealed version, but sleeping with people to get their power back, there's no room to judge on how someone heals. It might not be the right way, but to me, I'm not going to judge anybody for doing that.
Usually it's the man who presents the question and it's the girl who says yes or no.
Correct.
And if it's the other way around, it's basically, unconsensual, which is not.
Yeah, I only said that just because I don't want it to be confused.
I thought I was hearing that wrong, my bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. Because I think, and I think to kind of look at it like, do men create it? I doubt it, because in nature, in every other creature, basically, every other species, the female ends up selecting. So I would say that it's a trend, so I think it's a safe assumption that it's the same for humans as well.
I would agree.
So you would agree? I'm curious to see your answer. Would you agree that women allow access
I think yes, but also if a man's asking 100 people, then
Well, who's to say he's asking? I mean, he could
well,
just,
then
it could
somebody's
just be.
sensual.
But the reason why I ask is just because you brought up the STD and the STI,
Yeah.
scenario. But like, if women are presenting that they're answering the question to men asking, hey, the man's asking, can I have sex with you? And she's like, yeah, right? She's allowing the access for sex to happen. So majority of the time, it's predominantly women who are having sex more, which is why that STI and the STDs are spreading more. In accordance to your logic.
I think there's actually statistics that disprove that, like men actually are usually the carriers of STD, and I wish I had the statistic with me, and if you are like a sexy hot guy, if you are asking 100 women, you might get 50 of them to say yes. So, is it necessarily the one woman who told you, yes, I'm okay with that? Is it her somehow fault, or is it the guy that's like putting his dick everywhere?
Well, that's going to be in the portion of accountability, right? You have to take accountability. It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
If the man's asking, the woman allows him to do it, yes. But at the end of the day, you are in control of who comes in, which is why it refutes back to, a key that opens up many locks is a master key, but a lock that gets opened by many keys is a shitty lock. Like,
again,
that's the whole
I
point.
never want to put a lollipop in my mouth that you all have just shared.
Exactly. So in a sense, you would agree with us.
Where you say it takes two to tango, it does take two to tango, and it takes two irresponsible people to get an STD. So it's like, again, even though I have allowed access to someone to come in my body, right? Because I said yes, somehow like it's more meaningful to me. It doesn't make sense to, I feel like, defend somebody. Again, asked 50 women or however many women in the club that they can, and they're just trying to bag some sex for the night. I think if anything, that is way more disgusting. And
no, if you break into my safe, you are the greatest thief in the world. But if I let you in my safe, I am the weakest guard ever. Like, I don't know how that's not understood.
It's just bad. She's like completely missing the whole point because she's steady trying to make it seem like you got to look at both sides. You're not even looking. You're not even, everything they're bringing forth is like they explain their point, they show their reasoning, and then you default to, oh, you're just only looking at this, but you're gonna look at all of this. But what they're saying is valid. Like they have a point. Either it's a concede to the point or rebuttal the point, not look at something else. Because essentially that's what's being done. You're trying to move the goalposts. And it's like he said before, you would agree that body count matters.
what much more questionable behavior sexually than someone who goes, oh, I like you, I'm into you, I want to have sex with you. If you have someone who's just giving it out because they just want to get it out, like, I think that's, in my opinion, that's grosser. Like, that's nasty.
What's interesting about this question is we're both gonna, like, both sides are gonna argue whether somebody should or should not value something. But at the end of the day, I talk to men all the time. I get to see their perspectives. I also obviously talk to women too, and I get to see their perspectives. Like, I know men inherently value that somebody hasn't slept with somebody as much.
I
right?
said that.
So like that, yeah, they have a lower body count. So whenever we're sitting here thinking about, the master key or, the lock, when we're sitting here looking at those, at the end of the day, the men are going to get to determine what they value the most, and women are going to get to determine what they value the most. And when you jump into a relationship, I think it's important to be transparent about your body count, about those things. And if somebody's asking about those, it's because they value them. And it goes back to one of the first things that I talked about is, like, if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody and you're good for them, then you're going to share the same morals and values and all those other things. And I know just inherently men value that, and that's going to be something that when they jump into a relationship, they're going to want to talk about that. They're going to want to know that, 35 other guys haven't been in a relationship with this person and slept with them. They're going to want to know that, she is I guess, more selective with that. She cares more about it, and she's saved that for something that, you know, means more to her. And it goes back to like the, you know, the number of times that you've slept with somebody diminishes what that relationship can be.
I said that earlier though. I think men have this thing of like wanting to own someone. You do not have access or own someone's past, and you could only hope
But
that
I can sit here and if you have your past and not you specifically, but say somebody says, I've slept with 35 people. I know me personally would be like, I know that I cannot marry you because that is something that is going to bother me.
Hey, sorry, I'm gonna go on
but
that.
Once again, I also have a question.
For me, that's as a guy, like I'll say this, like if I'm like, I mean, I guess because I don't care as much, right? But like I'm saying, like if I find a girl, you know, like we're hanging out, we're cool, clicking, and then she's like, let's say if it goes for a month or two, then I'm like, you know, what's your body count? And like for his example, she says 35, like, I like, bro, like, especially like how in her example, like she said, like, if you're a female who did this, like in your past, like for me, if we are here now, I was with 35 dudes, but like that shit happened 5, 10 years ago. Like, bro, who cares? Like that, like to me, that has nothing to do with right now. Like you did your shit, like, yeah, like, you know, but it's like, you can't go in the past and like change that shit, right? So it's like, if you, to me, if I value you as a woman, like you got values that like I can see myself with, that one fact that you was like crashing like with lots of dudes back in the day, like I'm not gonna be like, oh man, like you were a hoe back in the day, I can't do this. Like it's like, man, like she said, people grow, people change. Like, you know, I'm trying to look at you and value for what you bring to the table now, right? What you did 10 years ago when you were 16, like, you know, it is what it is, bro. Like,
that is from a person who obviously has never been in a situation where they've been with a girl and then found out that something happened or that she used to be this. Or, oh, I know your girlfriend. What? What do you mean you know my girlfriend? Yeah, she let me and hit. Yeah, man, back in middle school, man, she used to go dumb. It's the city I grew up in. These are my friends. These are my family members, and everyone knows this about you.
I can't look at you the same.
What?
You lied on your interview.
Right. One thing I will say is about him is that he does give off the vibes of the kind of guy that the girls and everybody is talking about, who probably is just a nice guy and don't really have much to offer. Because people with things to offer, like there's some things that just aren't acceptable. I can't bring a certain type of woman home to my mother and father and bring them to their house. No. There's a reason that there's the term that she is for the streets. No, we can't bring her home by any means, under no circumstances. Can we ever be like, yeah, I'm in a relationship with who? Where? Nah, you can't do that.
After hearing all of this, are you switching sides?
I don't want to say
And
I'm
that's fine,
I don't
because
want to
this is an
I don't
open
want to say
thing.
I'm switching sides. I'm saying ideally I would prefer a woman who hasn't been slutty or anything, but at the same time, like if you have the values I'm looking for, and like even if you say you was with 100 dudes, I'd be like kind of like damn, you know. But it's like whatever, my turn now. You know what I'm saying? Like we going, you know, like jeez.
Exactly.
That is disastrous. Like what? Dude, you said 100? Okay, this must have been hot girl year. Bro.
Yeah.
Like how many dudes you know that got 100 body counts? Like I can understand you saying that 35 and getting to the point where you letting that slide, but like bro, 35 is high.
Right. Alright. My man said he don't get no play, so he take what he can get. That's what that means. Yeah, you can't convince me of nothing else.
Dang. But we gonna get over this.
Yeah, we can work something out.
Man's ain't going. He ain't going without.
Yeah, he needs something.
He gonna get his fix.
He say if don't nobody else want you, here I go.
You meet all of my core values.
Which are none, because if she done slept with 100 dudes, she ain't got none. She ain't got none. They don't exist.
Because I would think that commitment would be within them values. And if this woman got to the point of sleeping with men and still had to find another one. 35 times she done slept with somebody and it wasn't enough. And now she found you. Are you gonna be enough? Is you the one that gonna break the chain?
Oh man.
Cause she got a chain reaction. Just because she stopped for 5 years, that when she just started again, it's not gonna happen.
Or think about it like this, man. How did she get to 100? Who's to say? Like, if you got 100 bodies, I would not trust you out of my earshot.
Yeah, that's
Like,
cringe.
You can't go to the store by yourself, cause all it takes is for a fly debonair suave ass, you know what I'm saying, to come and say the right thing to you, and now you in the back seat. Nah, bro, I can't. You in the bathroom at Walmart and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because
This is cringe.
and I'm just saying, bro, like that happens a lot. It happens a lot. Anybody that know anybody knows about these stories. They tell you about what they did at the mall with whoever. Oh, girl did such and such in the movie theater. Oh, she led the whole crew. Oh, yeah, man. All you got to do is smoke with it and it's on. Like everybody know about these things, bro. Like this. This is why like with these panels, like of course they always say that it's like people with real experiences and stuff, but it's always people with like super biases that don't really look at the reality of things. Like, come on, man, everybody know these people. Everybody know about that girl in your neighborhood that did whatever. Everybody know. Everybody may not have experienced it. Like it was plenty of people that I knew who was like neighborhood you know what I'm saying, just pass arounds that I never had the interaction with to do that. Like I didn't run in that circle. I didn't know her like that. There was no reason that I would have been chilling with her at midnight on whatever day. It just didn't, like, it wasn't that thing. I wasn't doing what they was doing. But the whole hood knew. Like, we knew it happened. We saw her coming out the house with the 5 dudes. Like, we saw it. We saw the 5 dudes show up. Like, we saw it. We knew what was going on. We heard little whispers about it because people done bragged on certain stuff, and like, come on, man. People be trying to act like it ain't real. It's real. And ain't no way that you would accept that. Nah, see, he is either delusional or he lying. Just like old girl, lying. Ain't no way. You can't even convince me that you secure enough in yourself. No.
100. That's wild.
Well, I mean, I think where you're getting at with that is the high body count itself isn't really what matters. I think it's the why. Kind of like what you were saying. Like, if I was young and making stupid mistakes, young women, like, you guys are all kind of at that age right now. I mean, like, where guys, especially like guys who are sociopathic, not that most guys are, but like there's a very small like percentage of guys that are very sociopathic that are just going to use you guys for your body. And they're very prominent in the dating scene, and it's very annoying as a guy who's not that guy, because every girl who gets played by so many of those guys starts to think we're all the same. And so, kind of going back to the high body count thing, like, the higher your body count is, most likely, yeah, if you've got a body count above like 35 and you're in your 20s, I doubt you've been in at least half of those as a real relationship, for one. But again, it kind of comes back to the why. Why is the body count high? It's to me, it's more of like a little like footnote, like, oh, we'll come back to this later. But again, if I don't find that out until like a month in, at that point, I know whether or not you've healed. I know whether or not if you're Christian, you've repented,
Yeah.
I know that, okay, she's made that change in her life to where she's not going to be a problem. One thing that you kind of notice in a trend is men kind of want a woman that makes them feel special, which I kind of think is why subconsciously the low body count comes in. And then women kind of want a man who's desirable amongst a multitude of women.
Yeah, where does that come from?
I can back that up. It's pretty simple. Like 80%. So if you take 100 men in a room, right, 20 of those men are going to be sleeping with multiple women, right? If you have 100 men, 100 women, right? 20% of those men are going to be sharing that multitude of the 100 women, because 80% of those men can't even get a conversation with you in the first place. Like, a lot of men lack just the probability to even communicate with you. And a lot of times, a lot of women will just disregard a man coming up to them if they're the same height as them in heels. Like it's unbelievable.
That goes back to the nice. It goes back to the nice guy.
You two have kind of already answered it, but like you two gentlemen, so I'm curious because like in my example, like you were talking about the why, right? So I would say the vast majority of my body count occurred from a teenage when I was very, very young, you know, up till 16 years old. Then around 16, I started realizing, no, this is not how I want to live my life. But that occurred because I was sexually assaulted at a very young age. We were kind of talking about your way of getting your power back and choosing hypersexuality, choosing to heal, you know, and then trauma that I also experienced at that time, just from other things, caused that for a span of 3 years of my life, you know? So 3 years of my life from 13 to, you know, 16 in that range, you know, I would say I slept with more people in that time than I have in my entire adult life, you know? So it's like, with that, like if, for example, like does that still, if the why was justifiable, I guess is my question. If the why was justifiable into, you know, why they had a high body count, and if they have those values, because we're talking about values that, you know, women could bring, I would say, yeah, it's valuable that there's a low body count. I think there's value in that. I can agree with that. But isn't there also value in self-awareness and growth and the ability to like come in and like reflect and choose to be a better person? Like, to me, there's more value in that. So I know you two have already kind of like talked about this, but I'm curious to see what you two would say about that.
Yeah, I think it's subjective, 100%. Because at the end of the day, like for me, yeah, if you come into a relationship and you're like, my body count's 10, I'm not even looking your direction. You are literally like, I'm not even going to reply back to you after that. Just because like it doesn't matter about the why. It's a perfect thing to talk about between men and women, because this is an equal opportunity, you know, opinion. You have to take accountability for your actions. You know, if I shoot somebody when I was 7 years old and you know, they're not here anymore, you know, and I'm 27 years old, I'm like, hey, I've changed, you know, but you're still gonna look at my past and be like, wow, he still killed somebody, you know, like.
We can still take accountability and change the behavior. That's also,
I had something I also wanted to say. Okay, have y'all experienced post-nut clarity?
Yeah, we're men.
Yeah.
I would say it's real.
Me personally, no, just because like anybody that I'm with I'm in a serious relationship with. So
Yeah, but I'm talking about even on the hub, you know? Y'all experienced that?
What's that one?
She's talking about.
I know. It's about corn.
Bro, it's talking about corn.
Sorry, my mom might watch this. I gotta be stupid there.
Because I think most women, specifically, most women usually aren't just sleeping with people just to sleep with them. If we talk about satisfaction in bed, most women aren't even having fun. If you look at the statistics, most women aren't orgasming during sex. And I know personally, every person I've slept with was someone that I thought I was going to be in a relationship with. And like you were saying earlier, there are a lot of guys in the dating market who will proposition you. They know that you only want a relationship. They'll court you, and then once they get the sex from you, they dip. So was it my fault for like sleeping with so many guys, or was it like, oh, I actually tried to save myself for someone good, and I tried to like, I didn't sleep with just anybody. I slept with this person and I thought we were forming a relationship with each other, only to find out I was being played. It was the game. It was, you know, I was being manipulated into giving my body up, knowing, and the person, I always let them know, like, if you don't want a relationship with me, stay far away from me. I don't want to just have sex with anybody. That's not what I'm here to do. You have to take accountability for that. Where's the accountability for men? Because this is something that I constantly hear men talk about. They talk about,
why does her answer always have to lead back to men? Like, why can't she just answer the question about what we're talking about?
They just keep doing it. They just keep moving it.
We watched most of this. Put y'all's thoughts in the comments. Y'all got our takes on it. I'll drop the link for the actual video in the comments or in the description. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. With that, man, for the Brews, we're gonna say shalom, and for everybody else, man, we'll see y'all on the next one.